What up, guys? Another Adonis review, and today I'm gonna flip the script a little bit, and I'm going to do a review on the PlayStation VR 2, since that's basically where all my time has been the past month, and give you, I feel, a very fair description of what you can expect and what you think is value to you if you should get it or not. Because I do think a lot of parts of it are great, but I also am upset at a lot of things as well, which, are negatives, and they're very clear negatives in it. So let's kind of talk about it because, we're over a month in now. I've gotten a lot of the big games immediately with it, with it coming out, and no games. I guess kind of going into the first big negative is I did have the PlayStation VR 1, and one of the best things that I ever thought happened going from PS4 to PS5 is the fact that all the games were playable, and then, slowly over time they've kind of been bumped up into, a PS5 version for some. Now, sometimes that doesn't really mean much, but the fact that I could play it, even if it was just a PS4 version, I really appreciated. And that is not the case for the PlayStation VR to the PSVR 2, which is kind of my first big negative of it. There is a few games that they've decided to upgrade to the PSVR 2, but very few and in between. And that's kind of a slap in the face. I mean, they've said, I think the articles I've read say that it's a very difficult transition from going from PSVR to VR2 in controls and the way it's set up, but I mean, if some games can do it and some games do, I don't know why all games can't. So I truly hope that they decide to work more on that, because I think that would increase the value a lot. So I guess that we'll start with that negative, but I'll kind of go in the positive and then go into the list of negatives that I see. So positively, I do really enjoy the PSVR 2. I think it's fantastic. I was a person in the past that when I got the PSVR 1, it was 100% just a novelty thing to me. It was something you put on, every now and then for 30 minutes, and just kind of we're like, oh, this is cool, the future, nice. Or maybe if you had a friend over, you show them Beat Saber or something and be like, isn't this cool shit, you get one, But there was definitely a long period of time where, it just collected dust, and a large reason for that, is the motion sickness. And I thought for a while, there was one time where I was playing a game and I got terrible motion sickness. It just destroyed me, where I was like, wow, I can never play this for a long time. And I had a friend talk to me and say that, that VR is going to be the future and it'll be easy one day. And, and I'm like, I don't think so. Because with that motion sickness that so many people are prone to, I just don't see it coming. But I could say without a doubt that I have completely lost motion sickness. I could play VR all day long. I could play for 12 hours straight and not get motion sickness. I don't know if just eventually I was able to conquer it slowly but surely, or if there's a different reason from it, but it went away. So that's not that much of a concern. How long it takes to do that or whatnot, I don't know, but it did go away for me, and it was really bad. I honestly thought I would never. I never thought I was a person that would ever get over motion sickness. It wasn't like I never felt it and then I only felt it for this. It's like I get motion sickness easily. And I was like, well, it's just my life. I get motion sickness, and it went away. But again, that is a big negative for it. But like I said, positively, it is great. I can play it nonstop all day long. The graphics truly are amazing. It's incredible seeing PS5 level graphics and quality, in a VR game, because I've always said you can play a PS2 level of graphic game and it looks pretty cool in 3D, and it's always very tough to tell how good it looks if you just watch a YouTube video. Luckily now, even watching YouTube videos, you can somewhat kind of see the quality of it, and you'll never get the full aspect of it unless you're playing it, but it doesn't look as completely terrible as it used to, when you are looking at a game that has like a PS2 level or PS3 level of graphics on it. So the graphics are there, the controls are very smooth and intuitive. The way you grab things, the resistance and the trigger, so depending on what you're doing, it's harder or easier to pull. It really does feel like you're holding stuff. Like The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is a great example of them really in tuning the game for VR. If you grab an axe or you grab a two-handed weapon, you kind of feel like you're holding it that weight. You feel the swing and the distribution of it. When you feel the collision when it hits a zombie in the head, and you feel the pull out when you take the knife or whatever out of the zombie skull. It just truly is a well done controller where it doesn't feel flimsy or not intuitive. It feels really good, and it really makes me excited to see what games they are. I mean, honestly. So like I am super excited to see where VR goes, and it can't happen fast enough. I 100% agree that this is the future, that everyone will be like Ready Player One in the future, because we already have headsets that can go with you everywhere, right? That aren't connected to any type of console, so you can already do that. We just need to expand the memory so it can hold more. And we need companies to go all in right now. Again, PlayStation's the only one. I don't know why Xbox doesn't get in on something. They just they gave up on their Kinect and did nothing with it. It's like, why don't you try to go in with VR? Like, do you have another plan? Like, what are you going to do? I think VR is the thing to do. I think in the future, PlayStation will have to commit to a wireless VR headset and make some type of cloud system that works with connecting your, kind of like a remote play, but a remote play that gets your VR, right? If we could do remote play now with our phone to our system, why can't we do that with VR? It could definitely be done, and that is going to be the system, in the future, 100%. Maybe we need faster internet or more space for the system. I don't know, what have you. Maybe they want to, to show people how good it can look at first before they commit to that and put more money into it, because obviously it can be expensive. But it will be the future, I'm telling you. And I just can't happen fast enough. And it takes us buying it. But with that being said, with all those positive and how truly amazing in the future it is, there's also the negatives. And some negatives are kind of upsetting because they're things that PlayStation did that they didn't have to do. I feel like when you're doing something like this and you're trying to get as many people as possible on board, especially if it's a niche thing right now, you're trying to prove to people it's not a niche thing and it is the future, you should keep tacking it on so there's as many things as possible that can grab every type of person. And it seems like they take off things that I don't think would be a big problem to keep, which is kind of a bummer. Like, for example, the PSVR 1 had 3D support with the PS4. So you could use your PlayStation VR to watch 3D movies in it. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't realize this until I had a PSVR 2. And I sold my PS4, and they took that away. Now, I don't know about you, it's not like I would go out and, just buy 1,000 3D movies. But I guarantee you, there's a person out there that if on the box it said you can watch 3D movies with this, it would have made more sense to buy the $250 PSVR. It would have buy a 3D TV at the time. And they should have supported that and promoted it more. And I feel they took it away because they thought people didn't use it, but I feel like people didn't use it because they didn't know about it. They didn't make it as apparent. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe everyone knew about it. I'm the only one who didn't know about it, but I don't think so. So it's missed opportunities like that and not implementing those. So that kind of goes into one of the biggest negatives I have, which is, one, the fact that they don't allow the PSVR games to go into PSVR 2 automatically. We have to wait for a slow rollout of maybe them being upgraded or maybe them not being upgraded. You just have to stick with the PSVR if you want to play some games you have and go with the VR2. Who knows? And now there's the fact that they've taken away that 3D capabilities. Can they add it on? Is it something they can just make a patch and update the system and add 3D to it? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? But the fact is that they took it away for now. which is like something I feel that they should have just added it on. It would have been a great addition that I feel like would have caught somebody that they will not catch now because of it. Same thing with a lot of the apps they have. You know, you could watch YouTube in 3D with the PSVR, and I believe that's been taken away, which is another thing that they probably can add in, and it will be probably added at any time. But it's like, why couldn't you roll that out originally? Fortunately for us, PlayStation's great at giving us exclusives and things that are meant for PlayStation, so we definitely will get more games. It's not a plethora right now, which is also kind of a negative. You know, I would say the biggest sells for this game right now is Resident Evil Village, which is fantastic and a beautiful game. It really truly is amazing to play. Horizon Call the Mountain, which is also an amazing game, and Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is also a great game. Resident Evil 4, the remake just came out. That's supposedly working on a VR port, because they already have the VR port, the not remake version of it, so I don't know what they're waiting on, but that's supposed to be coming. That'll be a great game. But again, I feel like once they start implementing games before and upgrade it, you know, kind of stacks that library, right? If they implemented Skyrim again and for PSVR 2, Borderlands 2 in VR, make Borderlands 3, Tiny Tina's Wonderland in VR. You know, there's just so many things that you do. Gran Turismo 7 is a big one right now also. And also another game that I've got really far into that I think is a pretty good game to get with the VR2 is like No Man's Sky. A game that I would never think of playing before, but now looking into it, you know, it's an incredible way to play that game. You know, having a million universes to play, the drop of a dime in a VR world. It just truly shows you the potential, right, of one day when they decide to make a game where they can implement all of Google Maps and Street Views and all that and add it into the VR, so you can literally be anywhere in the world and walk Street View in your VR headset. I heard about a game called Megaton Rainfall, which kind of had that hype for the original PlayStation VR, where you're basically a superhero and you could fly over the city, and it's like a real recreation of the Earth, and you could at high speeds fly to a major city anywhere, and you fight aliens off, and you're a superhero, and you fight, and they blow through cities and whatnot, and you can choose, there's like a villain mode where you can be the villain and destroy cities and whatnot, which sounded amazing. Unfortunately, this came out like in 2016, and it was not close to what it was promised, but for what it was amazing, because the story is that it was made by one guy, and it truly is like a recreation of the Earth. It truly has major cities, and you know, every place the Earth has typically. Unfortunately, a lot of it is just like desert. They've only recreated like big major cities, and apparently there's a few of them, but it's not, you know, recreated to the T. And obviously, when you fly down to street level, it's like PS2 level graphics. But that's the thing. The thing is that we can't, like, the imagination of that is real. You know, they could easily make a game where the dream of that is exactly what you imagine, where it completely is built off like Google Maps or Flight Simulator or whatever. The whole world's truly made. You could truly fly street level, and you can travel as a superhero and fight people or whatnot. It can be done. The PSVR 2 can do it. We just need to wait. We need to put people, more companies to support it and build it and start making games for it. You know, Resident Evil's a fantastic example of a game that plays great typically and is only better when you put it on the VR2. I heard Cyberpunk 2077, same thing. They're coming out with a PSVR 2 version of it. It's going to be great. But again, another negative is the fact that it's strapped to the PS5. You know, why not get another VR headset that is not connected to a game system? You know, it depends. Obviously, the PS5 version, PSVR 2, is much stronger, much better graphics. You know, it definitely gets a boost from being connected to the system. But you also have the freedom of going anywhere with a VR 2, which is amazing. It's like the Switch originally, right? You know, if you could go anywhere and play No Man's Sky or Witcher 3, if they had that on VR, like, it's worth it. But are you going to do that? Are you going to travel? You know, not going to go that many places, so It would be nice to not have to connect to something, but it doesn't really make a difference in my life. So whatever. But that's a negative you also have to think of, it being connected to the PlayStation. So like I said, those are kind of the main, kind of retracting back and forth. Positives, like I said, this is the future, and you'll see it if you play it. The graphics, the games that are out for it are amazing. The possibilities of the future, what they can add with patches and whatnot, it truly will be a must-have. But the negative so far is, there isn't a whole bunch of games, and the PlayStation VR ones weren't all ported over. So if you do have that system, you have to wait. It's connected to the system. They've taken away things that they should have just kept, like the 3D player and 3D YouTube, all that stuff. So it's just stuff that they should have just kept on, little things like that. But I guarantee you that, buy it now, wait, maybe it's something you should wait on. But in the future, this will be something that will be 100% worth having. It truly will be a mind blower, and it is a great system. We just have to see where it goes. So my personal opinion, if you're not, if you're a person who, touches a game and it takes you months to play it, probably don't get this. Probably not worth it, unless you have a lot of disposable income and you just want to blow your friends' minds with a cool video game. What a VR can do, you just want to, go for it. Because it will impress people, it will truly, be a cool thing to look when you have people over. But if you're a person that touches a game every few months and, it just takes you forever to finish things, I'd wait it out. Maybe they'll have a price cut eventually, bring it down a little bit, and, you'd wait for bigger games to come out. So, hope that helps. If you be considering it, gives you an idea. Like I said, it is a great system to have, but, it doesn't hurt to wait as well. Later, guys.